The Helios station hummed with its usual cacophony of machinery and voices, but today something was different. Kai Rodriguez stood at her workbench in the engineering bay, wiping grease from her hands as she watched the most unusual sight she'd ever seen approach her shop. A tall, crystalline being that seemed to shimmer with internal light glided across the floor, leaving traces of bioluminescent footprints that faded moments later. The alien was clearly Nexian, one of the mysterious crystalline species that had made first contact with humanity just 3 years ago. They rarely ventured into the outer rim stations like Helios, preferring to stay within their meticulously maintained territories. This one looked troubled, if you could read emotion in a being made partly of living crystal. "I seek the engineer known as Rodriguez." The Nexian's voice resonated like wind through crystal chimes. "I am Vilara, senior researcher of the Nexian Science Academy." Kai straightened up, trying to look somewhat presentable despite the engine grease staining her coveralls. "That's me. Kai Rodriguez, station's chief engineer. What can I do for you?" Vilara's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been anxiety. "My research vessel has suffered a catastrophic failure in its quantum harmonics array. The nearest Nexian repair facility is 17 cycles away, and my data—" The alien's voice trembled. "My data will degrade beyond recovery if I cannot reach our central database within 5 cycles. Kai whistled low. The Nexians were notorious for keeping their technology to themselves, claiming human engineering was too crude to interact with their sophisticated systems. "And you're here because you have a reputation, Engineer Rodriguez. They say you can fix anything, even technologies you've never seen before. They say you modified a Centaurian mining rig to outperform its original specifications by 300%. "They say a lot of things," Kai replied, but she was already intrigued. "Most of them true, though. Let me take a look at your ship." The Nexian vessel sat in the station's largest dock, its sleek crystalline hull dulled and lifeless. Normally, Nexian ships pulsed with internal light, their living crystal technology a marvel that humans had yet to fully understand. This one looked sick, if a ship could look sick. Kai walked around the vessel, her experienced eyes taking in every detail. "Your quantum harmonics array isn't just failing," she said finally. "It's completely dead. But that's not your only problem. The degradation has cascaded through your entire crystal matrix. That's why the hull looks like this." Vilara's form dimmed slightly. "Yes, our technology is interconnected. When one system fails, others follow. Can you repair it?" Kai ran her hand along the hull, feeling the usually smooth crystal surface now rough and irregular. "Not in any conventional way, but—" She paused, an idea forming. "I might be able to do something better." "Better?" Vilara's tone carried clear skepticism. "Our technology is the most advanced in known space. How could human modifications possibly improve it?" Kai grinned. "Because sometimes the most elegant solution isn't the most advanced one. Your ships run on quantum harmonics, very sophisticated. But when those harmonics fail, everything fails. No redundancy, no backup systems. Human ships are different. We build in redundancies, alternative systems, emergency backups for our emergency backups." She walked to a panel near what she assumed was the engine housing. "I can't fix your quantum harmonics array. That's beyond my expertise. But I can build you a hybrid system, something that uses both our technologies. It won't be as elegant as your original system, but it'll get your data home. Might even teach both our species something new in the process." Vilara's crystalline form fluctuated rapidly, colors shifting in what Kai was learning to read as extreme agitation. "Modify a Nexian vessel with human technology. It's unprecedented. It's your only option," Kai finished. "Unless you want to lose your research data." The Nexian was silent for a long moment, internal lights pulsing in complex patterns. Finally, Vilara spoke. "The Science Academy would never approve such modifications." "Good thing they're not here then," Kai replied, already pulling tools from her belt. Sometimes the best discoveries happen when we break a few rules. So, what do you say? Want to make history? Velura's form stabilized, settling into a steady blue glow. I must be malfunctioning to agree to this. But proceed, Engineer Rodriguez. However, I will supervise every modification you make. Wouldn't have it any other way, Kai said, grinning as she pulled up the ship's schematics on her tablet. And Velura, call me Kai. I have a feeling this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful partnership. As she began laying out her tools, Kai could hardly contain her excitement. This wasn't just about fixing a ship anymore. This was about proving that human ingenuity could stand toe-to-toe with the most advanced technology in known space. And maybe, just maybe, it was about building a bridge between two very different ways of thinking about the universe. She had no way of knowing that this repair job would lead to one of the most significant technological breakthroughs in human history, or that it would change the relationship between humans and Nexians forever. But as she prepared to begin work, Kai Rodriguez felt that familiar tingle in her fingers, the one that told her she was about to do something either brilliant or catastrophic. Probably both. The next 12 hours in Helios Station's main hangar bay were unlike anything either species had experienced before. Kai worked with a feverish intensity that both fascinated and disturbed Velura, whose crystalline form shifted between shades of blue and violet as she watched the human engineer seemingly violate every principle of Nexian engineering. That coupling is meant to channel quantum harmonics, Velura protested as Kai attached what looked like a crude human power converter to the ship's primary energy distribution node. You cannot simply connect it to a conventional power source. Kai didn't even look up from her work, her hand steady as she made the connection. Watch me. Your quantum harmonics are dead, remember. But the pathways they used, those beautiful crystal channels throughout your ship, they're still intact. They just need a different kind of energy to flow through them. She stepped back, wiping sweat from her forehead with a grease-stained sleeve. Think of it like a river. If the water dries up, the river doesn't disappear. It just needs a new source of water. We're giving your ship's systems a new river. Velura's form pulsed with skepticism. Our technology is not so simplistic. No, Kai agreed, reaching for another tool. It's elegant and advanced and beautiful. But sometimes beauty needs a little chaos to survive. Hand me that plasma torch. Velura's crystalline appendage extended, reluctantly passing the requested tool. I have been monitoring your modifications. You are not simply creating a backup power system. You are fundamentally altering how my ship processes energy. Kai grinned, her teeth white against her dark, oil-smudged face. Guilty as charged. I'm creating a hybrid system that combines the best of both our technologies. Your crystal matrices are incredible. They can channel and amplify energy in ways our systems can only dream of. But they're too perfect, too pure. One flaw, one disruption in the quantum field, and everything crashes. She gestured to the modifications she'd made. Human technology is messier, but it's resilient. We build in redundancies, alternative pathways, emergency systems. By combining the two approaches, we're creating something entirely new, something that can channel energy with Nexian efficiency, but adapt and survive like human tech. As if to emphasize her point, Kai connected the final wire to her hybrid power converter. The ship's crystal hull, which had been dull and lifeless, began to glow. Not with its usual pure white light, but with a shifting aurora of colors that rippled across its surface. Velura moved closer to the hull, her own crystalline form resonating with the new energy patterns. This is impossible. The energy signatures are completely chaotic, and yet. She paused, internal lights flickering rapidly, and yet they are maintaining stable patterns within the crystal matrix. How? Kai shrugged, but her eyes sparkled with pride. Human engineering isn't about achieving perfection. It's about finding ways to work with imperfection. Your crystals don't need perfect quantum harmonics to function. They just need energy that respects their natural resonance patterns. We're giving them that just in a different way. She moved to the ship's control interface, where she'd installed a hybrid control system that merged Nexian crystal technology with human holographic displays. Want to see something really impressive? Watch this. With a few quick commands, Kai initiated a power cycle. The ship's hull came alive with waves of energy that would have been impossible under its original configuration. The Laris form actually backed away from the display of power. "This is beyond anything in our engineering principles," Vilara said, her voice a mixture of horror and fascination. "The Science Academy would never approve." "Good thing we're not asking for approval," Kai interrupted, making final adjustments. "We're asking for results. And speaking of results," she stepped back, admiring her work. "I think we're ready for a test run." Vilara's form shifted to a deep purple, a color Kai had learned to associate with extreme anxiety. A test run. Now, without proper simulations or safety protocols. "Sometimes you have to run before you can walk," Kai said, already climbing into the ship. "Coming." Vilara hesitated, crystal form pulsing with conflicting emotions. Finally, the Nexian scientist glided forward. "I must be contaminated by your human irrationality." "Very well. But if this fails—" "It won't," Kai said with absolute confidence. "Or if it does, we'll fix it. That's what humans do. We try. We fail. We learn. We improve. Now, let's see what this beauty can really do." As they prepared for the test flight, neither of them could have predicted that their unorthodox collaboration would soon be put to a test far more demanding than either had imagined. The hybrid ship hummed with power, ready to either make history or become a cautionary tale about the dangers of mixing technologies that were never meant to work together. But that was the thing about human innovation. It had a way of making the impossible not just possible, but inevitable. The hybrid ship slipped out of Helios Station's docking bay like a ghost, its crystalline hull shimmering with unprecedented patterns of energy. Inside the cockpit, Kai sat at her jury-rigged control interface, while Vilara monitored the ship's systems through her native crystal resonance sensors. The space around them was clear, perfect for a test flight that could either revolutionize interstellar travel or end in spectacular failure. "All systems are functioning at—" Vilara paused, her crystalline form flickering with uncertainty. "I cannot accurately measure these readings. The energy patterns are unlike anything in our database." Kai's fingers danced across the holographic controls. "That's because we're writing a new database. How's the crystal matrix holding up?" "Stable, but—" Vilara's form pulsed with concern. "The resonance patterns are chaotic. By all known principles, the matrix should be rejecting this energy configuration. But it's not rejecting it," Kai said with a grin. "It's adapting. Your crystals are more flexible than your people give them credit for. Ready to see what she can do." Before Vilara could protest, Kai engaged the hybrid drive system. The ship surged forward with an acceleration that should have been impossible given its mass. The stars outside became streaks of light as they pushed the vessel to speeds that neither human nor Nexian ships could typically achieve alone. Vilara's form stabilized into a bright azure, a sign of astonishment. "This velocity, it exceeds our theoretical maximums by at least 47%. "That's because your theories never accounted for controlled chaos," Kai explained, her eyes bright with excitement. "The human components aren't just providing backup power. They're introducing controlled instabilities that your crystal matrix is automatically compensating for. Each compensation creates a cascade of energy that—" Her explanation was cut short by a sudden alarm. Red warning lights flashed across both human and Nexian interfaces. Vilara's form shifted to a deep crimson. "Multiple vessels detected," the Nexian announced. "Energy signatures match known pirate configurations. They're on an intercept course." Kai's expression hardened. "Pirates this close to Helios Station. They're getting bold." She studied the tactical display, counting at least 5 hostile ships. "We need to turn back." "No." Vilara's crystal form pulsed urgently. My research data. We've already traveled too far to return to Helios. We must reach the Nexian outpost. Velura, this ship is untested. We have no idea how it will perform in combat. Then I suggest we find out quickly. Velura interrupted as the first volley of pirate fire streaked past their bow. Kai's hands tightened on the controls. Hold on to something. We're about to stress test this hybrid system in ways I definitely didn't plan for. She threw the ship into a series of maneuvers that should have torn a normal vessel apart. The crystal hull sang with energy as human and Nexian technologies worked in perfect synchronization, each compensating for the other's weaknesses. Pirate ships scattered as their target moved in ways that defied their targeting computers. They're surrounding us, Velura reported, her form shifting between combat-ready red and anxious purple. Our weapons are about to surprise everyone, Kai finished. She'd modified the ship's crystal-based weapon systems with human power distribution technology. Remember how I said controlled chaos could be useful? Watch this. She triggered the weapons array. Instead of the precise, single-beam attacks typical of Nexian ships, their vessel released a storm of energy bolts. The crystal matrix amplified and split the energy in ways that created an almost organic pattern of attack. 2 pirate ships disappeared in balls of fire before their crews could even register what had hit them. Impossible, Velura whispered, watching as their hybrid weapons tore through shields that had been specifically designed to resist both human and Nexian technology. The remaining pirates, faced with a ship that broke every rule they understood about space combat, began to retreat. But one vessel, either braver or more foolish than the rest, made a final desperate attack run. They're trying to ram us, Velura announced, her form pulsing with alarm. Kai's response was to slam full power into their hybrid drive. The ship's crystal matrix sang with energy as human and Nexian technologies pushed each other to their absolute limits. They didn't just avoid the ramming attack. They performed a maneuver that left after images in normal space, appearing behind the pirate vessel as if by magic. One final burst from their hybrid weapons, and the threat was eliminated. As silence returned to space around them, Kai and Velura stared at each other in shared amazement. Velura's form shifted through a rainbow of colors before settling on a deep gold of respect. That was not according to any known combat protocol. Kai laughed, the adrenaline still coursing through her system. Welcome to human engineering, Velura. We don't just think outside the box. We tear it apart and build something new from the pieces. As they set course for the Nexian outpost, both engineer and scientist knew that their successful trial by fire had implications far beyond saving Velura's research data. They had proven that human ingenuity and Nexian technology could do more than just coexist. They could evolve together into something greater than the sum of their parts. The real question was whether either of their civilizations was ready for what that meant. The Nexian outpost rose before them like a forest of crystal spires, each tower catching and refracting the light of the nearby binary stars. But as their hybrid ship approached, neither Kai nor Velura were admiring the view. Their recent encounter with the pirates had revealed something far more disturbing than simple space bandits. "Show me that sensor data again," Kai requested, leaning over the hybrid interface she'd created. Velura's crystalline form pulsed as she projected the information they'd gathered during the battle. The pirates' shield configurations, Velura noted, her tone grave. They were specifically designed to resist both human and Nexian weapons. That should not be possible. Such technology would require intimate knowledge of both our species' defensive systems. Kai nodded grimly. Which means someone's been sharing secrets they shouldn't. But that's not what worries me most. She highlighted a particular energy signature in the data. Look at their engine outputs. Those weren't standard pirate ships. They were advanced scout vessels disguised as pirates. Scouts. Velura's form shifted to a deep indigo of concern. For whom? Before Kai could answer, their ship's enhanced sensors blared a warning. Velura's crystal structure pulsed rapidly as she processed the incoming data. Multiple quantum distortions detected at the edge of the system. Large vessels emerging from hyperspace. The main display lit up with dozens of contact signatures. Each ship was massive, easily dwarfing both human and Nexian capital ships. Their design was unlike anything either of them had seen before, organic yet mechanical, as if grown rather than built. The swarm, Kai breathed, recognition dawning in her eyes. They're supposed to be just a legend, stories of a machine intelligence that absorbs and adapts the technology of every civilization it encounters. Vilera's form pulsed with recognition. We have similar legends, the crystal devourers who turn our own technology against us. But they were supposed to be myths. Myths don't send scout ships, Kai said, already plotting a course through the hybrid interface. We need to warn both our peoples. This isn't just an invasion force. It's a harvest fleet. They're not here to conquer. They're here to take our technology and add it to their own. The swarm ships were moving with terrifying efficiency, spreading out in a pattern that would soon cut off all escape routes from the system. Their hybrid vessel, however advanced, wouldn't stand a chance against such overwhelming numbers. The quantum communications array of the outpost, Vilera suggested, her form brightening with urgency. It can reach both Earth and the Nexian homeworld simultaneously. But she paused, crystal structure dimming. The outpost's defenses are designed to repel any non-Nexian technology. Even with my authorization, they will fire upon any ship showing human energy signatures. Kay's hands flew over the controls, making rapid adjustments to their hybrid systems. Then we'll have to fool them. Your crystal matrix can still project pure Nexian energy patterns. We'll just need to mask the human elements completely. It'll cut our power by half. But it will get us past the defenses, Vilera finished. Kai, at half power, we will have no chance of escaping if the swarm reaches us before the warning is sent. The human engineer's face set in a determined line. Then we better make sure the warning gets sent. She engaged their modified engines, pushing them toward the outpost at speeds that strained even their hybrid systems. Besides, I have a few more tricks up my sleeve. Your people aren't the only ones good at hiding things in plain sight. As they approached the outpost, its automated defense systems scanned their vessel. For a moment that felt like eternity, both Kai and Vilera held their breath. Then the crystal spires pulsed with welcoming light. They had passed the scan. But their success was short-lived. The swarm had detected them, and 3 of the massive ships broke formation to intercept. Their organic mechanical hulls seemed to ripple as they moved, adapting and changing even as they watched. They're already starting to analyze our energy signature, Vilera reported, her form fluctuating with alarm. They will adapt to counter it. Let them try, Kai said, a fierce grin spreading across her face. What they don't know is that our hybrid system isn't just one technology masking another. It's both technologies constantly shifting and changing together. We're not hiding our human elements, Vilera. We're teaching your crystal matrix to dance. She threw their ship into a series of maneuvers that had even Vilera's crystal structure vibrating with astonishment. The hybrid vessel moved like nothing the swarm had ever encountered, its energy patterns shifting faster than their adaptive algorithms could process. We still need 3 minutes to reach the communications array, Vilera announced, her form pulsing rapidly as she monitored their pursuers. The swarm will intercept us in 2. Kai's eyes narrowed as she watched the massive ships bearing down on them. Then I guess it's time to show them why humans have a reputation for doing the impossible. Vilera, remember how you said our weapons modifications were chaotic and unpredictable? Yes. Well, you haven't seen anything yet. Kai's fingers danced across the hybrid interface. I think it's time we introduce the swarm to a little human chaos theory. The space around them was about to become a battlefield unlike any in recorded history, as human ingenuity and Nexian technology faced off against an enemy that had spent millennia perfecting the art of technological adaptation. The only question was whether their hybrid creation could stay unpredictable long enough to save both their civilizations from extinction. The space around the Nexian outpost erupted into a light show that would have put the binary stars to shame. Kai's hybrid vessel danced through the void, its crystalline hull pulsing with impossible patterns of energy as the three massive swarm ships closed in. 30 seconds to communications range, Valera announced, her crystalline form blazing with determination. The swarm vessels are attempting to establish quantum lock on our signature. Kai's hands flew across the hybrid controls. Perfect. Let's give them something to lock onto. She initiated what she privately dubbed Protocol Chaos, a series of rapid-fire modifications she built into their weapon systems. Their ship's crystal matrix began cycling through energy patterns at speeds that shouldn't have been possible, each burst of power feeding back into itself through human-designed amplification circuits. The result was a cascade of quantum fluctuations that rippled through space like waves in a pond. The nearest swarm ship, its organic mechanical hull writhing as it tried to adapt, suddenly found its targeting systems overwhelmed. Its adaptive algorithms, designed to analyze and counter any technology it encountered, were caught in an endless loop of trying to predict patterns that defied prediction. Their primary vessel is showing signs of systemic confusion, Valera reported, her tone mixing awe with scientific curiosity. The quantum fluctuations are creating feedback loops in their adaptive matrices, but her form pulsed with worry. The other two are learning from their companion's failure. They would, Kai growled, executing a maneuver that shouldn't have been possible under normal physics. That's what they do, adapt and overcome. But you know what humans do. She slammed their hybrid drive to maximum power. We changed the rules. The crystal matrix of their ship sang with energy as human and Nexian technologies pushed each other to new limits. Kai had built their hybrid systems not just to work together, but to evolve together. Each burst of power, each impossible maneuver, taught the crystal matrix new ways to channel energy, while the human components learned to resonate with the crystal's natural frequencies. 15 seconds to communications range, Valera announced. The two remaining swarm ships were closing fast, their hulls already beginning to generate countermeasures to their chaotic energy patterns. They're trying to box us in, Kai observed, watching the massive vessels move to cut off their escape routes. Think we got their attention. Valera's form pulsed with what might have been exasperation. I believe attempting to violate their fundamental understanding of technological progression has indeed captured their interest. Good. Kai's grin was fierce, because that was just the warm-up. Valera, remember how you said combining our technologies was impossible? Well, I think it's time we showed everyone exactly what impossible looks like. She activated their final modification, one she hadn't even told Valera about. The ship's crystal matrix suddenly began resonating at frequencies that matched human brainwave patterns, creating a hybrid consciousness that was neither fully organic nor fully crystalline. The vessel itself became a bridge between two ways of thinking, two approaches to understanding the universe. The effect on the swarm ships was immediate and devastating. Their adaptive algorithms, designed to analyze and counter discrete technologies, encountered something they couldn't categorize, a technology that was simultaneously predictable and chaotic, crystalline and organic, planned and intuitive. 3 seconds to communications range, Valera reported, her form blazing with unprecedented colors as she interfaced directly with their hybrid systems. The swarm vessels are experiencing cascading systems failures. Then let's give them something to remember us by. Kai triggered their weapons array one final time. The hybrid energy burst that erupted from their ship wasn't just a weapon. It was a statement about what was possible when different species worked together. The quantum communications array activated just as the swarm ship's adaptive matrices went into complete meltdown. Their warning signal pulsed out through subspace, carrying not just news of the threat, but proof of what humans and Nexians could achieve together. As the massive vessels retreated, their organic mechanical hulls scared and smoking, Kai and Valera shared a moment of stunned silence. They had done more than just survive. They had demonstrated that the sum of their differences could be greater than the sum of their similarities. The Science Academy will want to study this extensively, Vilara said finally, her crystal form settling into a steady gold glow of respect. They will have many questions about how this was achieved. And Earth's engineers will be falling over themselves to learn about crystal matrix technology. Kai replied with a laugh. I guess we forced both our peoples to start talking to each other. Indeed, Vilara's form pulsed with what was unmistakably amusement, though I suspect neither side was prepared for just how chaotic the conversation would be. As they docked with the Nexian outpost, both knew that this was just the beginning. The swarm would return, better prepared and more determined than ever. But they had shown that there was strength in difference, power in combining seemingly incompatible approaches. You know, Kai said as they prepared to disembark, there's an old human saying, necessity is the mother of invention. But maybe what we really needed wasn't just invention. Maybe we needed to learn that the best solutions come when we stop trying to do everything alone. Vilara's crystal form resonated in agreement. Perhaps that is why the swarm has failed to truly evolve despite absorbing so much technology. They take, but they do not collaborate. They adapt, but they do not create. Well, Kai grinned, patting the hybrid ship's console. I'd say we've given them something new to think about. And speaking of new things, she pulled up the ship's schematics on their hybrid display. I've got some ideas about improving our quantum resonance patterns. Vilara's form shifted to a now familiar shade of resigned amusement. Why do I suspect these improvements will violate several more laws of physics? Only the ones that need violating, Kai replied with a wink. After all, that's what humans do best. We see limitations as suggestions and impossibilities as challenges. And now that we've got Nexian crystal technology to work with, she gestured at the endless possibilities displayed before them. Together, they had built more than just a hybrid ship. They had built a bridge between worlds, proving that the greatest innovations come not from perfecting what we know, but from daring to combine what we think can't be combined. The universe, they had discovered, was far more interesting when you stopped trying to understand it and started trying to reimagine it.